Hi, and welcome to Camille's Country Corner. I am Camille, and on today's episode we will be making some creamy Tuscan chicken. Let me show you what you will need to make this recipe, but before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, definitely hit the like button, and let me show you all the ingredients you will need to get started for this recipe. For this recipe, you will need some chicken thighs. You can use chicken breasts or you can use chicken parts, whatever you prefer. Today I'm using thighs. I am using about a medium to a large onion, some whipping cream, heavy cream, some garlic, pasta of your choice. I'm going to be using some angel hair pasta, some spinach, some cherry tomatoes or small plum tomatoes like what I have. I'm going to add a zucchini today. I have some assorted herbs, which is basil, oregano, and some thyme, Parmesan, some chicken broth, and I have some sun-dried tomato pesto that we're going to be using. All right, let me show you how to put this recipe together. Okay, so for this recipe, we're going to be using both the oven and the stove. We're going to make our sauce on the stove. It says to go ahead and make the chicken on the stove as well. However, if anyone knows me, knows that I will loosely follow a recipe and I will add and do what I think is necessary to a recipe. So we're going to go ahead and start our chicken in the oven. So let me show you how I prepare that. I have just chicken thighs here. Remove this. I'm going to be using about 8 of these chicken thighs. That will be enough for our dinner and some leftovers for tomorrow's lunches. I don't like the skin on chicken, so I will be removing that on mine. And it's just a healthier alternative all the way around. Sorry if I look like a savage over here yanking apart all of this chicken, but all right, before we hit that next step, let me go ahead and wash my hands real quick. All right, I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper this chicken. All right, so I have a 6-ounce jar of pesto. You can use regular sun-dried tomatoes for this, but I'm going to go ahead and use the pesto because I could not find sun-dried tomatoes at my store. I'm going to use probably this whole jar, but I'm going to add half to the chicken now, and I'm going to bake this in the oven with half of the sun-dried tomato on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and brush the chicken. And I used about half of that jar. Okay. Now I am going to put this in a preheated oven at 400. All right, I'm going to put this in the 400-degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then I will check it with the thermometer to make sure that it has reached about 160, 165, because we're going to finish cooking it in the sauce at the end. So let's go ahead and throw this in the oven and I will show you how to get started with the sauce. All right, we're going to just dice up our onion right now. I'm using a purple today because I like the color in the sauce, because we all eat with our eyes first, and this is going to be different colors in our sauce. The recipe does not call for a zucchini, but I have the random zucchinis that will come up in my garden, and I'm going to use them as they come up. So I'm going to go ahead and just dice these up. Okay, and as for the cherry tomatoes, actually mine are little plum tomatoes. They're not very big. They're little Romas. They just didn't grow very big. I'm at the end of the season for my tomatoes, so see, that one's not any good. Too much water. And I'm literally just dicing these up as well. And I probably have about a half a pound of tomatoes. This is what happens when you get too much water in your tomatoes. I just don't use them, or I'll cut out the bad spots. Using that one either. And then as for the herbs, I'm going to go ahead and take my oregano off. You can use dried oregano here. I had some fresh growing in my garden, so I went ahead and used it. I have some basil, some fresh basil. I'm going to use that towards the end of the cooking time, just to give it a little extra flavor of the fresh herbs. Try not to get the stems in here because they're not as good. Okay, let's take everything over to the stove and I'll show you how to put the sauce together. All right, to my pan I have added about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to add my zucchini and my tomatoes at this time. I am using a purple onion because I like the different colors that will be in this sauce. The zucchini, well, it didn't call for that, but I have a random zucchini in my garden right now, so we will use those as they come up. All right, let's just go ahead and cook those down for a bit. Let me pull my pasta over. I have my pasta water going in the back. We're going to do a side of broccoli, and now you've got an up front of the broccoli. Let me see if I can reposition my camera so you can see a little bit better. All right, now that that has cooked down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. I'm going to add about 3 cloves of garlic here. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes in as well. And my herbs. I'm just going to cook those tomatoes down just a little. Now I'm going to add in about a half a cup of chicken broth. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of white wine. I don't have any white wine that is dry today. So I am going to be adding in half a cup of just the plain chicken broth that I have made. We're going to let that come up to a simmer. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my pesto. It is the 6.7 ounces. I just got this at our Aldi. Of course, I have a spoon that doesn't fit inside the jar. Grab a spoon. Now I added half of this. It says to add about a half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of this 6-ounce jar, and I've added the other half to my chicken. So we're just going to cook that down, get a nice sauce going. Okay, I have turned my stove down now that we're up to a simmer. Actually, we're up to a boil. I went ahead and turned my stove down to a medium. We're going to go ahead and throw in 2 handfuls of spinach, roughly chopped. So let me get that out. I'm going to roughly chop this. Just let that wilt down a little bit. All right, there we go. This is just some fresh spinach. Let that wilt down just a little bit. To this, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. So that is a full 16-ounce container. Sorry, I was thinking of if I needed anything else. All right, and since my chicken stock did not have any salt and pepper in it, I'm going to go ahead and add some salt now. Not too much because I still have my Parmesan cheese to add. If you like some crushed red pepper flakes, this would be a good time to add those. Okay, and we need about 1/2 cup of Parmesan. My store did not have any Parmesan other than this shaker kind, so that is what I'm going to be adding today. Leave down in the comments if your store is lacking a lot of things as well. And I wasn't about to go to 5 different stores for this recipe. All right, we're going to bring this back to a simmer. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper here. Now our chicken is almost done. Our pasta water is coming up to a boil. Don't forget to salt your pasta water. Do not add oil. And I am just doing some angel hair pasta, probably about 1 pound. All right, our chicken is almost ready. Let me show you how to put that together. Okay, now that our chicken is done, I'm just gonna stir the sauce up a little bit. It's not gonna be super thick, but it's not supposed to be. If you want it thicker, you can add more cheese. All right, let me grab some tongs so we can get this chicken nestled inside of our sauce. And as usual, I need a bigger pan, but that's okay. We're just gonna let this simmer for another about 10 minutes. This recipe, because I'm making 8 thighs, will serve 8 people. All right, let me get this plated up and I will show you what it looks like once it's plated. Okay friends, this is what it looks like when it's done. I just topped with a little bit of thyme and some fresh basil. Okay, now that it's done, let's give this a try, shall we? I'm normally not a big fan of sun-dried tomatoes, so I'm interested to see if I'm going to like this recipe. It's really good. I probably would have added more garlic, but that's me. It has just the right amount of vegetables in it. You could definitely beef this up with a lot of vegetables. Actually, that sun-dried tomato has a really nice background tomato, but it's not real overpowering like regular sun-dried tomatoes are. It has a really herbaceous flavor that is delicious. I hope that you try this recipe. And of course, I've got to bite this again. All right, I'm gonna let you go so I can eat my dinner because this is wonderful. I just made some pasta, and I'm serving it with the chicken, and I have a side of broccoli. I'm so glad that you came here today. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit the like, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by today.